Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, B-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab, Saturday morning, doing what I do for you. Oh, I got a nice lesson for you today. I'm excited. You know, I get excited. Calm down. Let's do what we do. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. Message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. Hope it's working out for you. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right thinking mission. That's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission that all right thinkers do just that. Your goal is to know thyself. I'm gonna give you everything you need to make that happen. I'm here to do that for you. That's what I do. Knowing thyself is the question I ask daily. It's rhetorical, but if you don't know, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. Help you to know you. All right. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, they reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. I just switched over. This is who I am today. Okay? She taught letter, my favorite. And today we're going to talk about the Pauche Neteru family tree of the Neterian god and goddesses. This is what it looks like. Okay, I want you to get a good look at it because you see the A, B, and C. Those are the three different trilogies that the theologies that we're going to talk about. Okay, but you see the arrow pointing to the top. The line going down is the rod. A, B, and C is what I said. Thebes concepts. I'll break that down to you as we go, but that's what we're doing, and this is what it looks like. Okay, it's called the branches of the Neterian Theologies. And it's like that because it spins off to the left and the right, up, down. But it all ties in. I hope. My goal is to get you to understand it, put it together where it all comes together into a lesson where you can understand the branches of Neterian theologies. It's three of them. All right. Now, in the center of that picture above, you can see that the Ra tradition is the one going down, the Anuyan theology or tradition. That's A. Excuse me. That was A. Then you, excuse me, that's a straight line. That was A. Then you got the Ptah theology or tradition, which identified by B. Who is that? Ptah, you got Ptah, Sekhmet, they gave birth to Nefertim. Okay? He's the form of Haru. Okay? Now, then you got the, that was B. Then you got the Amun theology, a tradition, which is Mu, Amun, Mu, and Kansu with the offspring. He also the form of Haru. Now, this slide illustrates that what the Anuian theology gave rise to what divinities in both of the branches was Setian, Theban, and the Menifer, aka Menphite theologies. Thus, the divinities from the Ptah theology arose from the Anuian theology, and the divinities come from the Amun theology also emerged from the Anuian theology again. The Assyrian tradition is another branch which also emerged from the Anuian theology. The Assyrian tradition is based on the divinities that we're all familiar with. That's the one that everybody knows, which is Asar, Aset, and Haru, or Osiris, Isis, and Horus by the Greeks. It is from this tradition now that the Christian myth developed. We're saying that story of Jesus and Christ baby was from us. Christians said no, they made it up on their own. But we know we ain't gonna this ain't about that. But watch this. As you go along, you will see the similarities. So the slide illustrates, watch this, that though there are many gods and goddesses in the Neterian theology called Neteru, they all, watch this, emanate from one single supreme being. The group of gods and goddesses they call the Paut, P-A-U-T, group of god and goddesses. Really? Let me read. I ain't gonna keep breaking it down. Let me just keep reading and get through this stuff. Now, the group of gods and goddesses for the Paiuti, is spelled P-A-U-T-T-I, group of god and goddesses. All the gods, watch this, and goddesses emanate from the single one. Everything comes from the. So it's monotheistic. Okay. Well, here you go. So if anyone refers to ancient Egyptian or African religion as polytheistic, that is an incorrect assessment. Simple as that. Why? Because such people did not either study ancient African religion. It may be that they are just ignorant or did not care to study or to understand. If they understood this, then they would have to give ancient Egyptian African religion its due respect by what? With respect to those in other religions who what propagate this erroneous idea of what polytheism. Their acknowledgement of this truth would require that what they had admit that they are not the only ones with the so-called elevated monotheistic notions or advanced conception of religion. They don't get the ancients credit. Let's move on. I ain't even gonna make that a long drawn out situation. Let's keep going because it's gonna play itself out. We pay attention. Watch this. Now it would mean if they did that, it would mean that someone else is as what? Civilized. We the originators of civilization. So understand, it's somebody other more civilized than we are, watch this, as they are, and maybe even more advanced. Spiritually, we are the most spiritual people on this earth. Why? Because we came up with the concept of how to serve God and worship God. That's why. Watch this. Now, this realization is kind of hard for the what? Degraded, egoistic personalities to accept. We're talking about that other man. So their reaction, watch this, is often to what? Denigrate, disparage, marginalize, and ridicule anything contrary to what? Their own belief. Again, they got beliefs. We had facts, truths, ideas, and concepts, watch this, so that they may continue. You know who they are. So they may what? So that they may feel, so that they may continue to what? Feel good about what? Themselves. They need that form of what? Egoistic notion of superiority. We call it racism now. Okay? White privilege. In order to what? Can compensate for what? Their personally low esteem and what? Low culture of what? Human development that is based that's based on, watch this. This is where we are now. Material accomplishments. Couldn't wait to get here. We are judged by how successful you are, by how much money you got, how big a house you got, how many cars you got, how many millions you got, what kind of being in. That's all material. And that's what society is based on right now. So I'm not into none of that. Moving on. So it is fitting, watch this, that Western religions, watch this, should be so based in what? In his histocracy of the myths, watch this, of the Western religions. Watch this. That is a reflection of the materialistic nature of this society. In other words, those types of religions are what? Materialistic, and consequently, they end up being idolatrous. Yes, Contrary to their own beliefs, again, back with their belief, Western religions practice idolatry because what? They tend to, what's that? Concretize, who that? Concretize, concretize the divine, what? Okay, break down God into what? One image. They humanizing God. They bring God to their concepts. I did a lesson about that one, but watch this. Now, one proprietary culture, one sacred scripture, etc. Their way. Catholicism, right? So watch this. Now, this act of confining God into what? A materialistic concept is a form of adultery. I agree 100%. If you think God wants you to have all this stuff, really? Really? So we really got to, I'm a jealous guy. All this stuff that y'all say God said, God ain't never mentioned me by him being jealous. I'm just saying, so I'm moving on. I ain't getting to that. But that's the concept of idolatry. Watch this. Further, these religious cultures, watch this, that support the worship of what? Objects, not as expressions of the divine, as in Africa and the Eastern religion we understood, but as worthy objects that can bring happiness. Are you kidding me? Because you go get a diamond studded cross don't make you no more spiritual than the man in the moon. Oh, it cost me half a million dollars. Okay. And that does what? I mean what? Again, materialistic ideas of being successful. Watch this. So now, Eastern religions, but is worthy objects. They are as worthy. They can bring. They think the objects that can bring happiness, even to the point, watch this, of killing to preserve or acquire them. That's just, again, satanic act Satan. What he do? Kill his brother. It ain't stopped. It's never gonna stop. Why? Until we wake up, and we never gonna all wake up at the same time. The last paper that was done was in Egypt. They was all living Maya through a society for thousands of years. This is what I went back to get the information about. This is what I'm teaching. That's what it was. So I understand how to do what we need to do as a people. I just want more people to understand it too. I see we all working to make us conscious. So I'm just doing my part. Watch this. Now they are used. Wait a minute. However, they are what? Infused with divinity, since divinity is what? Everywhere and in all things. The spirit is there, consciousness ain't. They are used, watch this, as objects to focus on what? Or concentrate the mind. They are not viewed as the God, but rather as the lesser manifestation that can be used to gain entry into the transcendental plane of consciousness. This view is sometimes referred to what? As animalism. And what I have just explained is what the correct philosophy of the animalistic practice and materialistic type of societies, money, power, image, etc. Fame. Why? Because the gods, when they all, sorry about that, in the materialistic type of society, money, power, image, etc., becomes the god and goddesses that people worship, and therefore, I keep telling you, the new god is this stuff. Watch this, and therefore they are leading themselves where? Down the road. You ready? Pain and frustration. Those objects can what? Never bring abiding peace as they are evasive, limited objects, meaning material. It don't last. Worshipping such objects is Western civilization. Wait a minute. Worshipping such objects is actually what? A very degraded form of human culture. We're going to hell in the handbasket. We practicing very deformed, degraded forms of human culture, and it's getting worse. It ain't getting better. Watch this. We got a guy y'all about to put in office who's a well-known bad criminal guy, but you're gonna put that person in this. No, I'm going there. Sorry about that. Get back. So watch this. So therefore, Western civilization what cannot be considered advanced. Why? Rather, it devolution, devolution from the heights of our ancient African culture and philosophy to where we are. This Neterian African notion of religion, watch this, is actually superior. Why? Because it actually divines the entire creation. All of these gods and goddesses of our Neterian theology represent what? Listen, the elements, we gave 5 elements, okay, of creation. I'll start out with the creation story because you need to understand that to get the rest of the story, you need to know the beginning. Don't start in the middle. Start in the beginning. In the beginning. In the beginning. Creation. How did creation start? That's what I'm trying to break down to all my right thinkers. Learn that first and everything will work after that. Watch this. You got earth as Gad. Watch this. We called earth Gad. The sky, the heavens, that was new. Water was Tefnu. The air and the space was Shu. And the thing in the sky was Ra. We teach that. We understood that. Watch this. Now, knowing that, with this kind of notion, you cannot take a step. Watch this. Where outside of what? God's creation. Why? I am walking on the earth. Ain't the earth Gab? Walking in Gab. I am breathing in the air. Ain't that Shu? Okay, but all this stuff was here before we even got here. So that's meaning being conscious of what's going to be needed. All conscious will be aware of all that. And watch how we break down. We taught this. I look up in the sky, I see heaven. That's new. Where divinity is not present. The entire creation is the temple then. Everything is God. This is all God. What is not ready, watch this. What is not readily visible, here we go. Shita is Shita. What's Shita? Shita means the hidden divine self, the hidden God that we don't see. We know everything else about him, but we just don't see him. All this other stuff is manifested by him, from him, the one. Now, what's this? What we see here, we call best. Best means what? The outer image. The Amun, the inner, hidden. Best is the outer image. We cannot see the hidden. Why? Because the hidden divinity is transcendental, and we cannot see that which is that with what? Mortal eyes. Mortal man had never laid eyes on me. Why? Because he's ignorant of him hindsight. Until you reach the veil, remove the veil of ignorance, know thyself, gain consciousness, reach high spiritual enlightenment, then you'll know I said, and you'll know God. Watch this. Yet it sustains that which we can't see with our mortal eyes. Yet it sustains that which is what? Visible in this time and space we call reality. This is the time, watch this. This is the same philosophy that what? That occurs throughout African religion generally. Everybody had the same concept. Watch this. And this is what Western scholars call lesser beings. We call them aspects of God, God and goddesses, male and female. That's why we do that. You call them lesser beings, meaning what? Sorry about that. But watch this. Western civilization call them lesser beings. Watch this. Those lesser beings in African religion are what? The lower gods and goddesses. These lesser beings are to what? Be perpetuated so that what? They can lead you, the aspirant, right thinker, or initiate to what? Understand the highest supreme being who is the source of all, God. So what's the difference? Lesser being, angel, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. But if you got it misunderstood, you got it mistranslated, mistaught, it won't work. Watch this. Now, in Western culture, you do not have lesser beings or gods and goddesses per se. Wow. You are supposed to revere who? God or Jesus directly. I ain't going there. That's the Christian concept. Okay. But watch this. You cannot, this is the problem I got with religion. Here it is. Ancient African philosophy say we become one with God, okay, through understanding, living, righteousness. Okay, watch this. Here they're saying you cannot be as good as Jesus, which is the Son of God, according to them, or God, according to them. Why? There is really no one who can be as perfect as Christians would like to achieve. What's this? No one, okay, no one who can be as perfect as Christians would like to achieve what? Communion with who? Jesus. Ah, just say Christ. I feel better saying communion with the Christ because that's who Jesus is supposed to be. That's just the first name. First name ain't Jesus because we know about the deal, but he's Christ. Why? Because that's communion with God. Watch this. Watch this. Now, consequently, everything is what, according to the Christians, a guilt trip. Why? As to the Christians, seemingly everything you do is wrong. Everything you do is upsetting. Everything you do is a problem from what? From the beginning. Why? Thus, the concept of being born in sin, right there is why. And it's a mental concept. So so consequently, the Christians have what? Have to be seeking forgiveness all the time. Praying, oh God, forgive me. Stop doing the dumb stuff. Sorry, but they pray all the time. They ask for forgiveness for everything. They're doing everything. They can't be perfect. Okay. So now watch this. Now, in this way, Christians cannot have a full communion with the divine and discover true purity of heart that brings virtue. Why not? There is always that separation, that beholding nature, that inferiority complex that never seems to go away. That's the Christian concept. I can't be this Christ. I can't be this Jesus. Oh, okay, but please forgive me. Practice. He was a prototype of how you should be. That's what the whole point back to Christ. But watch this. But Western religions do have what? Intermediaries. What's the intermediary? Y'all call them saints and angels. What's the difference in God and goddesses? Okay. But watch this. Which are essentially the same as the God and goddesses, even though they are not referred to in the same way. Okay. It is therefore hypocritical for what? Proponents of your Western religions to look down on what? The non-Western religions when they're doing the same thing, just said a different way. So in the commission system, everything is what? Divine. Hmm. If you're the son of the divine, you got to be divine. Watch this. You understand, watch this, everything is spiritual energy, a spiritual cosmic force that what you are living in and working through and trying to master thyself. Now, in mastering, right, in philosophy, these forces, then you what? Transcend their influences. Therefore, you are not innately what? Controlled by nature, but you are potentially a master of nature, which is the forces that you learn to master within yourself. Hence, know thyself, master the self, master nature while in the flesh. These systems, watch this, of divinities give us easier entry into spirituality. Why? Because we could start with the turtle god of the river of happy, the Nile Valley, and then that leads us to what? His relatives, and ultimately to who? Supreme Being, him or herself. Quick thing about the turtle. Native Americans said they were started with the turtle. Why? You got 13 months to a year, and you got 28 days to each month. That was the old school way. They still do it. Ethiopians still practice it. So another lesson, just a tidbit there. Now, furthermore, I'm wrapping it up. Oh, I did good. Okay. Furthermore, the divinities represent what? Principle. I keep telling you that. Of what? Nature. Luke. Use the force. That's the nature force that Yoda was telling Luke to use. Star Wars is getting rich off of our ancestral birthright. Okay, so just understand that too. Watch this. It represents the nature and our personalities again that we need to control, aka master. These proportions, these perpetuations, what remove the egoism and ignorance, making it what easier for you, the aspirant, right thinker, to grasp and therefore understand and control what the personalities, aka your characters, aspects of you, your God and goddess aspects. So watch this. As to what? Purify and realize your higher essence within. So the worship and study. Worship and study. Worship and study. I'm surrounded by books. Why? 'Cause I study and I worship. So they go together. And watch this. And those divinities is actually a study of what? Our own constitution, our own psychological makeup, aka our psyche. We can shrink ourselves because we know ourselves. We know the problem that we go through. We can solve it ourselves. Don't need psychiatrists for that. They don't want to hear that. But that's what you're doing. And watch this. We have our makeup, the psyche, and our own spiritual architecture. And the architecture of what? The universe, nature. And this is why Neterian, right in the philosophy, religion has what? Many gods and goddess aspects. Why? Because it is a scientific approach to allow what? A person to perpetuate what? The divine, which was leading them to an elevating process to what? Discover the supreme being. So this is not degraded religion at all. Actually, it's an advanced religion, the most advanced religion. Right thinking, follow Shita Netta. I say again, still the most advanced religion. Why? Because it gets you to know yourself and gives you everything you need to do just that. I'm just passing it on to you. That's where I got it from. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'll be back.